Hey folks, this is Rebel Razzle Run.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Tornado 10 video.
And Psychic Tom Vision. Raring to go. Red hot crystal ball.
Alright, well, you repaired your crystal ball. And we both got it right last weekend. With the Bellator fight there. We'll talk about that later. We're going to talk a little bit about Josecito Lopez making a little bit of a comeback, but not really turning any heads.
Well, he damn near won that fight.
Yeah.
That was a fight going in there. We all said Thurman hasn't fought in 2 years. This is a tough opponent, a durable opponent, but overall a safe opponent, a guy that he should be mid to late rounds. And he was saying, his game plan was if everything was on point, he was saying it should be 6 rounds. And he had it down in the second. We're like, oh wow, he's really going to exceed his expectations. And then Lopez hung in there, and then by the 7th round, he's tattooing Thurman around the ring. And if anybody was watching the fight, any fighter and or trainer that is going to be looking for a fight with Keith Thurman, they're going to be putting the blueprint down there, lead right hand, because Lopez couldn't miss him with the lead right hand. He must hit him about 17, 18 in a row. They were laying them flush, and they were doing damage. I'm like, if I have a fighter going right now against him, I'm like, you know what? Step to the side, lead right hand. Do this, lead right hand, and you're gonna land. And you're gonna land.
Yeah, definitely showed the ring rust for sure. And I don't think it was a matter of the shoulder feeling bad. It's just not being in live competition, basically. But yeah. It also shows some holes in his game, like you said. I don't think he's going to be able to fix a lot of those very easily, so maybe you're right.
Well, okay, but how much of this is ring rust? That's the question.
Oh. Ow, Tyson. We got some interesting prospects, though, with Manny Pacquiao in the mix. So, who knows who's going to go against him next, but definitely going to be a bigger test next time, so he's going to have his A game.
You know what? And you are right when you say that, because, next time he got that comeback fight for 2 years out of the way, and you're right, this is going to be a bigger test right now. So his managerial team needs to do a money grab right now, and that's why Manny Pacquiao makes a lot of sense. If Pacquiao's team, only way they wouldn't accept it is if the Mayweather carrot gets dangled out there again, where they can say, shit, I can make a lot more to fight Mayweather. If not, that's a great one, Manny Pacquiao. He's the old lion, and here's a chance for him, to make another good money fight against a quality opponent, much better than Adrian Broner. And for a guy like Thurman, for his team, it's like, this is a great chance for a money grab as well, but also to take on a legend, a guy that's, a Hall of Fame caliber fighter, a guy that's a huge name out there, and has a chance to say, you know what, let me really reestablish myself. For anybody right now that wants to get their name really seen in a stacked division with guys like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, and you got Mikey Garcia, you got a lot of really good fighters. You want to differentiate yourself, you grab a guy like Pacquiao that's got a name. Yes, he's on the downside, but he is coming off a pretty big win, and dominate him.
Right.
Knock him out if you can.
And make good money while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Well, in stereo. Sort of. We also had some other fights last week, believe it or not. Up in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, we had Mathieu Germain and Steve Claggett coming into a super lightweight fight with Germain undefeated at 16-0. And Claggett coming in 27-5-1, and guess what? They fought to a draw. So the IBF International Super Lightweight title and the IBF North American Super Lightweight title I guess this remain vacant or stay with whoever had him. Steve gets his second draw. Jermaine gets his first. And that was the big one on that card. But we also had a Jesus fight of the week that didn't go so well for Jesus, unfortunately. Can Zoo, XU, Can Zoo, got the win over Jesus. If I can find it. Where is it? Jesus fight of the week. I'll find it in a minute here. Where's an undercard for me?
You know what? I got one fight. I'm just looking something up real quick, and there is a fight that I do want to talk about, and then a potential fight which I think can really bring a raucous crowd to Brooklyn. So just give me just a few moments.
It was Jesus M. Rojas. That's the one. He got his third loss, 26-3-3 at featherweight, and it was Can Zoo. Like I said, Can. C-A-N for the first name, just like the word we know. X-U for the last name, Can Zoo. So he moves to 16-2 and gets the WBA World Featherweight title. And Jesus had another bad day. The co-main event there was interesting too. Super welterweights Jamie Munguia. He moves to 32-0 over Takeshi Inoue, who was undefeated at 13-0 with one draw. Now he gets 13-1-1, so 13, that's a tough hump to get over sometimes, It really is a unlucky number for some people.
Up this one piece of information. There was a fight, Deontay Wilder's brother got knocked out. Marcellus got knocked out on the Thurman undercard. And he was looking towards possible cruiserweight title fight, and now that's not going to happen. So where is the one that I'm looking for here? That's not it.
Also, I really insulted your friends at the Jedi Knight there after watching Gerald Washington's fight with Adam Karnacki the other night.
That's the one that I was going to talk about. Gerald Washington, who got beaten impressively by Adam Konaki. And Adam Konaki, Polish fighter, lives in Brooklyn now. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Doesn't look like much, does it? Looks like a mini butterbean.
He does. A friend of my family's, we got him to watch the fight because he's Polish descent, and he's 80-some years old, and he's always got the polkas playing and all that. And we were like, he called up right as it was starting, and after it was over, we're like, he's probably waving the Polish flag and firing up his kibasi. He's jubilant right now. But he asked us, he goes, well, he looks kind of flabby. I'm like, dude, he always looks like that. He always looks really soft and really out of shape. But the thing is, Adam Konaki can fight. And, he's undefeated. Now, 2 fights ago, Gerald Washington lost to Jarrell Big Baby Miller. So tell me how this fight would sell. You got Adam Konaki, who's 19-0 with 15 knockouts, and he is babyface. And, putting him, Adam Babyface Konaki, in with Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who's 1 with 20 knockouts. So you got Babyface versus Big Baby, and I'll tell you right now, Huggies, Pampers, and Gerber would be the sponsors of the fight.
Oh, that's good, buddy. That's it. Home run tonight.
Yeah, because they're heavyweights.
First run KO, buddy.
And because they're heavyweights and they like to knock guys out, somebody might be eating baby food after the fight.
Yeah, right. But I'll tell you right now, I mean, but you look at an old king aside, you have 2 guys there that can legitimately fight. and they're big guys, and they're punchers. I mean, these are not the body beautiful heavyweights like the Klitschko's and the Evander Holyfields of the world, but what these guys are two big heavyweights. And, I'm talking about two big heavyweights, and they both can fight. They're both undefeated. They're both based out of Brooklyn, and they both have very strong fan bases. You put that fight at the Barclays Center, you got to sell out right there.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I would guess the only odds I would take on that, how quick? Like a 2-day over-under, a 1-day over-under? Yeah, for sure.
The only problem is with a fight like that, it's, because Tom and you and I have said this till we've been blue in the face. Fighters today don't take risks like the fighters of yesterday would. Back in the day, yeah, there was no problem for a guy like Bill Lewis stepping up and fighting a former champion like Max Schmeling. Even though it was a high risk fight, which ended up not derailing his career, but put a little speed bump on there. You had guys like Rocky Marciano fighting a good fighter like Rolling the Stars, and Daniel putting a speed bump on his career. Joe Frazier fighting the Oscar Paladinas. These
Marvin Hagler invading Philadelphia. Marvin Hagler's numerous battles in Philadelphia. There's an example right there. You talk about risk? Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
yeah, exactly.
Teddy, before we get to his future here, we look at his past. Adam Karnacki, do you think he was just that dominant, or do you think Gerald Washington just came to be an opponent in this one?
Maybe a combination of both.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, let's not Washington hung with Wilder. What, I can't remember the round that stopped in, but I
think it was
yeah. So
6 rounds.
But I mean, he didn't look terrible against Wilder.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looked like he showed up to the wrong fight or something, or just wasn't ready at all this time. And I don't know what it was. I don't think he was intimidated so much as he just knew he wasn't going to win. It was like from the very beginning to me, it just seemed like he was convinced there's no way he was going to win. I don't know. I just got that vibe from watching that fight. And yeah, you don't want to say money involved to make him lose or anything, but it's just like it just makes you wonder, like, why take that kind of fight if you're not going to go in there and make an effort? He just didn't seem like he wanted to go the whole fight, number one, and even compete. He just wanted to just go in there and make an appearance, basically. It's just phoning it in. But I don't know if they ever got an interview with him after the fight to ask. But I'd be curious to know what was his mindset. Whether he just got overwhelmed or he just couldn't focus or something. Did they put something in his water?
Yeah.
Did they pull a Dada 5000 on him? Co-main event was a featherweight fight. Tug subbed Nayan Bayar over Claudio Marrero. That was a quick one. 10-0. Tugsot moves to 11-0 there, and Marrero falls to 23-3. What else did we have last weekend? A female fight, I believe, somewhere, a big one. Somewhere over the rainbow. There it is. No, I guess not. Oh, there it is. Anna Gabriel's. Anna Gabriel fought somebody. Where? Bouncing all over. The other candidate that tried to get to be on the Creed was also back in action over the weekend. Stan Martinuk. I thought he looked a lot more like Creed original. Original Ivan Drago, but So.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we love you.
He did, but I think he was too babyface looking. He looked, he didn't have that, steely, angry look. So maybe he could, maybe the acting, he could have pulled it off, because he definitely did look a lot like a young Duff Lundgren.
He spoke Russian.
I don't think, he did look, but I don't think you could have looked for anybody more intimidating than the guy that did play Victor Drago.
Right.
Oh,
anyway, Hannah Gabriels did fight super welterweight over the weekend down in Managua, Nicaragua for the WBA World Female Super Welterweight title. She cruised to victory over Sarah Dwyer. 3-5-2 is her record now. Hannah gets her 19th win, looking for number 20 next. And we had not Jesus, and not in Nicaragua, but we have Jaceth Noriega. I don't know if he's related to the old drug lord there, but 24-4-2, fighting Victoria, or she, Jaceth, fighting Victoria Torres Canul, who was 9-0 going in. Jaceth Noriega got her 25th win there. That was in Jalisco, Mexico. So, now Stan Martinook fought on the deep undercard down there in Baja California, Mexico. And I was wondering why it looked like his picture was taken in a gym at a high school. Fuck that, there was a small stadium there. But yeah, it was a big card. Stan came in with a record of 18-2 and moved to 19 over Ishwar Sakeros, who came in at 3-3-1. So obviously a tune-up fight for him. He's been off for a while. And no huge fight for the main event there, but I just thought I'd mention that. And there was another Jesus fight where there's no result here. Andres Tapia, 14-7-3, fought Jesus Laguna, who was 22-13-3, and it just says P, whatever that means, instead of W or L, just a P. And the guy whose name we made fun of last week actually won the fight, Vincent Fagan Boots. Got his 30th win, 30-2 over Premislav Opelak in Germany. Opelak falls to 27-3. And then we had super welterweight Ahmad Ali notch his 14th win to go with no losses and one draw. By the way, that main event was for the vacant GBU World Super Middleweight title. Ahmad Ali won over Dennis Krieger, who was 14-7-2. And then we had a female fight at light flyweight, Sarah Borman, 9-0 over Sanay Ja, who was 15-3-1. That was for the GBU Female World Light Flyweight title and the Women's International Boxing Federation World Light Flyweight title. And I think that's it for the big stuff from last week. So we'll go to this week coming up. And we've got probably the biggest fight is the rematch between Eleider Alvarez and Sergey Kovalev.
Yes.
And Kovalev's dealing with a lot of personal issues going into this one. I don't know if you've heard anything about his backstory situation, but he's dealing with some serious, I don't know if it's borderline rape, but it's some kind of assault by against a female. And I don't know if it's quite criminal yet, but it's definitely going to be civil. He's definitely going to have somebody coming after him for civil damages at the bare minimum, but he could be in criminal trouble too.
Boy, Buddy McGirt had an interesting take on this whole thing. She said that they were asking Buddy if he had studied Alvarez, and he said no. Buddy McGirt said he never watched tape of anyone he fought. He said every time, on a few occasions he did, he came up short. He said, we're just going to do one thing. And I found that interesting. And he said he changed his whole nutrition around. Kovalev wasn't eating right, and things were a mess. So Buddy McGirt's very optimistic about it.
Yeah,
but I didn't hear about this other stuff.
I could have had a great interview with Buddy McGirt, but I didn't really know who the hell he was. I'd never seen a picture of him. So I went to a show in Boston, and he was training a fighter there, and he had these golden sunglasses on. I figured he was somebody important, but I went up to him after the fight, shook his hand, said, "How you doing? I'm from Fight News Unlimited. I'd really like to interview your fighter there." It was a guy named Dat Nguyen. And he's like, all right. So we go backstage, and in the middle of the thing, Dat starts talking about Buddy this and Buddy that, and I'm like putting it together in my head. Oh shit, that's Buddy McGirt. I should have got the interview with him, and I was just going right for the fighter. But Dat again was pretty good. He still is. He's still out there fighting. Oh, it's about 5 or 6 years ago, easy, maybe 7 or 8. Yeah, a long time ago. Buddy. Interesting character. Anyway.
Probably around 2015 at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. And he was training, actually, a former guest of ours at the time, Joey DeWaco. And, I got a chance to talk to Buddy. Just what a really cool guy, down-to-earth guy. Obviously, I knew who he was. I remember from his team days. I remember his fights, with Meldrick Taylor and Simon Brown, Pernell Whitaker, among others. And Buddy was a very good cerebral fighter. He was a thinking man fighter. He really focused on proper technique in the gym, and especially in the ring. You would see him, wasn't a guy that did anything spectacular, but he did everything well. He wasn't the hardest puncher, but he could get your attention with a punch. He wasn't the fastest guy, but he had decent speed. He was a pro's pro, and I think that's the best way to describe him. And that's what he brings to the training part of it now. Exactly.
Right. Well, we got some fights over in the UK this weekend, in addition to the Alvarez fight, which we'll get to in depth in a minute. Sergio Garcia, super welterweight, 28-0, fighting a guy named Ted Cheeseman. I don't know if I've ever seen this guy fight or heard of him, but Ted Cheeseman is 15-0, going for the EDU super welterweight title against Sergio Garcia. Good luck, Mr. Cheeseman. Co-main event there is Felix Cash at middleweight. He's 10-0. What a name there. Fighting Rashid Abolaji, who was 11-4-1. I got a little video on YouTube of a guy at Mayweather's gym. They call it Cash Flow. Something Diaz is his name, but I don't remember the first name, but it was funny. He's got a nickname already. He's like 6 years old. Cash Flow. Anyway. That's over in the UK. We also have, let's see, the vacant USA Iowa State Super Welterweight title on the line. Limberth Ponce, 16-3, fighting Stephen Edwards. He's undefeated at 10-0-1 there. Thought that was worth mentioning. Nothing else too crazy on that card, but here's the big one. And it's going to be the next installment on ESPN Plus. And main event, Eleider Alvarez, undefeated, 24-0, fighting again against Sergey Kovalev, who he upset the last time badly. Kovalev 32-3-1 coming in. WBO World Light Heavyweight title on line.
I went to that last fight in Atlantic City. Obviously, not going to this one in Texas. But when we were at that fight, Kovalev was ahead, but you can't really say he was winning. He was ahead on the cards, but from being so used to, especially pre the fights with Andre Ward, Kovalev was going out there and he was a destroyer. He was like an Ivan Drago. He would go out there and seek and destroy, merciless, tremendous knockout power, great finisher. When this fight was going on, like I said, he was using his jab a lot. and he was winning the fight on his jab, but he wasn't getting his power punches off at all. He looked a step slower. He was landing some shots, but it wasn't like, yeah, he's winning, he's landing more punches, but I can't say that I'm impressed, and I can't say he's like, going for, broke, he's going for the kill. And I remember after the 6th round was over, and my one friend looks over at me, he's sitting next to me, he goes, is it me, or does he look like he's like gasping for breath? Does he look like he's like sucking wind? And I'm like, that's a really good question. And then it was like a matter of seconds into the 7th round, Alvarez lands that right hand at top of the head, and Kovalev's, his legs buckle, and then goes down on the seat of his pants. And when it first happened, it happened so fast, it was almost like you missed it. If you blink, you missed it. And the two trains of thoughts happen. The one is, you get caught on top of the head, get his equilibrium messed up, knock off balance, and he's fine, like a flash knockdown. Or is there something more to this right hand that landed? And it kind of reminded me of that exact same punch with two different scenarios. And I'm going to bring up two different fights that I'm sure both of you will remember. One was the third fight between, it doesn't happen to me in Atlantic City, what a crazy coincidence. One was the third fight between Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. And Gatti was winning the fight, and in the 6th round, Ward, at the very end of the round, Ward lands a right hand on top of Gotti's head and knocks him to the seat of his pants. And it was a flash knockdown. He just caught him right, and Gotti got up and won pretty much every round since that. Another fight in Atlantic City was Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes. And in the 4th round, Tyson did an overhand right high atop Holmes' head, almost on the temple, and Larry stepped back, and he went down the seat of his pants. Gotti got up, wasn't hurt, recovered fine, and won. Larry Holmes was out cold within about 45 seconds because he was hurt, and Tyson finished the show. So when Kovalev first went down, it's like, is he more Gotti or is he more Holmes right now? And he was more Holmes. He tried to fight back, and left hook right hand, and he was down again, and he dipped onto his face. I remember turning to my friend like, this fight's over. He's done. And the referee gave him a very short leash, and the first punch that Alvarez landed after that put him down again, and it was fight over. So now, going into this fight, it all depends on Kovalev's two things. Is he past his prime? Is he done? Is he finished? Is he finished as a fighter? If he's finished as a fighter, this fight won't even go to the 7th round. He'll be out in 3 to 4. Or was he not training? Was he not prepared? Was he taking Alvarez lightly? And did he get caught on an off night? So those are like, it's hard because you don't really know a whole lot about Kovalev. He's not a guy that's in the, the public eye as much. Where others would say, well, yeah, he's definitely past his prime. Or you could tell maybe he just had an off night. If I was a betting man, I'm going to think that Kovalev is on his latter legs, and I think Alvarez stops him again.
Well, you heard it here first.
I've been wrong before, and I want Tom to weigh in with his crystal ball and tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Well, there's so many ifs, because I've seen Buddy McGirt do such great work, but I've also seen Buddy McGirt come up short.
Yeah.
And, I think the best example was the Gotti Mayweather massacre. And, you know what I mean? Because it's just, I was listening to the interview, and Buddy McGirt's a charismatic guy. So, like you said, he covers all bases, and he was just swaying me over. But like you said, with Kovalev, there's just so many other question marks there. I mean, how did he get as far as he did if his lifestyle was just off that much? And can you really change when you get to a certain stage in your life? Like my favorite phrase, at a certain point, a fighter just pretty much is what he is. And can he? It was something so wrong in the first fight. Was he just not trained? Like you said, he was just gassed, and his legs weren't there, and his power punches weren't there. And this is going to be a complete 180, and history told us it's not that easy to turn something around like that. So it's hard to argue.
So, when you take a beating like that, and like, okay, granted, he wasn't taking a sustained beating. It was, he got caught, and then he got finished. And how does that mess with your psyche, as opposed to a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 round beating in a fight? And once again, you had the two trains of thought there. You have the Joe Louis versus Max Schmeling, where it made him come back better, and it made him eliminate the mistake of dropping his left hand and get susceptible counter right. And then you have other guys that they take that one beating, and I mean, they take a brutal beating, and they never recover from it. I mean, after the first fight with Andre Ward, you know, Kovalev was confident in the second fight because he felt he won the first fight, and, you know, he didn't take a lot of punishment. He got outboxed and outworked over the second half of the fight. But the second fight, Ward really took it to him and beat him up to the body, which, and you know what? If you go back, and I don't want to spoil anything if you guys haven't seen it yet, you go back, it's just funny how little subtle things that you pick up on when you know the boxing, you know. Go back and watch the second Ward Kovalev fight when Ward really had him hurt instead of really into the body. I mean, and I feel him straight a little low, but he was actually holding him with one hand and just digging left hooks right up the center, the solar plexus, and really folding Kovalev over. That was exactly a sequence they used in Creed 2 with the American doing that to the Russian. And I'm like, could Andre Ward, who was in that movie, maybe influence that a little bit, saying, hey, guys, that would be great for this scene here? And just like I did to the Russian, you just do it, where you just dig them body shots right in there. Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. As you were explaining all that, I was looking at all the fights this week, and I was about to say, might sound impossible, but we do not have a Jesus fighting on Saturday, according to BoxRec. For once. But we do. I found one. Jesus fight week. But before we get to that, we have the rest of the card here. This is one of the most stacked cards I've seen on ESPN, period. Obviously, they went ESPN Plus for this. So it's a big step up for their platform. I'm excited about some of the fights on here. The other one, the co-main event, I guess. Jim Comey's shorter brother, Richard Comey, 27-2, fighting Isa Chania, who is 13-1 at lightweight for the vacant IBF World Lightweight title, and then somebody's always got to go in the featherweight fight, and it's the WBO World Featherweight title on the line. 24-0 Oscar Valdez and Carmine Tomasoni, who is 19-0. I'm guessing that's probably an Italian name, Tony. The name Carmine, probably right.
Yeah, it reminds me of Laverne and Shirley, the Big Ragu.
Then we have lightweight Teofimo Lopez, who's 11-0, fighting Diego Magdaleno, who's 31-2. This one's for a bunch of titles: NABA, NABF, and USBA lightweight titles. And if that's not enough, we got a couple other decent fights worth mentioning. Patrick Day, 6-1, fighting Ismail Liev, who is 11-0-1, and it's for the vacant IBF Intercontinental Super Welterweight title. Then we got Bakram Murtazaliev. Hope I got that one right. He is 14-0 for the WBC United States Super Welterweight title. A lot of titles on the line. Titles in every fight. It's a free-for-all. And Jesus Fight of the Week is, believe it or not, Jesus' debut as a professional. There's that much of a shortage of Jesus fights this week that we have to go with somebody in their Jesus debut. Let's find it here. Bottom of the card. Pro debut. I'll find it in a second. Jesus Enrique Mendez at welterweight. Fighting Jose. Jesus and Jose. Go figure. Jose Antonio Rojas Becerra, who is 0-3. He has 4 names and 3 losses. Tough one. Anyway. So, that's the boxing schedule for the week, but we got one big boxing story to talk about. I don't know if you heard about this, Tony, but George Groves has announced his official retirement from the sport of boxing.
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I didn't hear that. I saw that the other day. Somebody posted it. It was either Facebook or Instagram that I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay. No, I was a little surprised because there was a big fight, hometown. I don't think it was Chris Eubanks. I think that little still too heavy, but I'm drawing a blank right now. But I was like, wow, what a time to step out and call it a career. But money's right. Wouldn't be the first time, right?
Yeah, 4 months after he lost his belt to Callum Smith back in September, and it was his 4th attempt trying to be world champion when he beat Fedor Chutinov in Sheffield in 2017, and then just lost the belt. So he's not going to put the pieces back together and try again. And he's been through some wars. I mean, you think about the Carl Froch battles. The second one was a little bit less intriguing than the first, obviously. But there's a lot of battles and a lot of tough fights. But he said, after 4 attempts, I had finally fulfilled my childhood dream, and the experience was as great as I had always imagined it would be. It was without a doubt the best moment of my career, and he just had it. He won his first 19 professional fights, and had his fight with Froch in 2013. And referee stepped in round 9, and ended up losing the rematch with Froch 6 months later. But then he got the belt, the WBA belt, in 2017 with a 6-round stoppage of Chutinov, and defended that title twice before losing to Callum Smith in Saudi Arabia. And he said, some of you might think it odd that I'm choosing this time to retire. I'm still young, still fit and healthy, and there are still some big fights out there for me, but it's for these reasons that I'm choosing to retire now. I have a young family at home. It's time to spend some of my better days with them. I don't want there to be a time where I'm too old to box on, or where an injury retires me in and out of the ring. I box at the highest level all over the world. I've been a champion, and I will be leaving the sport relatively intact. Boxing has been good to me. I believe I have been good for boxing. Lastly, prayer for Edward Gutnick, who suffered a brain aneurysm after a fight in November 2016. He was put into an induced coma for 3 weeks. Really fought his way back to consciousness. He lives in Germany with his wife, 3 children, and a full-time carer. This fight brought home the realization that boxing can have real consequences. So, thinking about not only his future, but the future of other people he might pummel if he stays in.
Yeah.
Interesting angle on, but especially considering the recent news about the Canadian there. He's up walking and talking now. What's his name there? Adonis Stevenson.
Stevenson, yeah.
I heard that, and that's good.
So, crazy stuff. Before we get to the Bellator card, and we're gonna play a little bit later a 10-minute snippet from a 3-year-old interview, believe it or not, because it's very apropos to today's discussion about the Bellator card, and we'll talk about future UFC events and all that. But this is an even better story than the Henry Corra story, believe it or not, which is pretty intense, just because of the fight picture I'm going to paint for you. But this guy that fought on the undercard, he actually had Hollywood actor Chris Pratt in his corner. Not like in the crowd cheering for him. In his corner. This is a convoy driver that was... he was working for the Marines, and I think it was in Iraq, yeah. He was born and raised in Iraq. So he was there, and then he was contracted to be a convoy driver for the Marines. So he didn't go through Marine Corps training or anything, but he was working for the Marines. So Chris Pratt was in there working with him because he just happens to be a member of the same gym, mixed martial arts gym, that he trains at. Jay Glazer, obviously big in celebrity circles because he does a lot of stuff in football too. He's one of the guys that's there, and he picked up on this story and did an amazing piece on this guy. A guy named Altamini is his last name. Adel Altamini. And this guy has the craziest true story, okay? So he's captured by Al Qaeda, and they basically cut off the head of his best friend and I think his brother, right in front of him. And they've got the knife to his neck, and he just says in Arabic, "God, I am ready." And then, like, before a split second can pass, the Marines are at the door, and they rescue him. And now he's coming into a fight with Chris Pratt in his corner. So after he was rescued by the Marines, he moved to the United States and started training in MMA. And just happened to meet Jay Glazer and Chris Pratt at the gym. And he actually said that Chris Pratt is a great person to train with. And this was one of the most interesting things because, you know, the guy doesn't really seem like he's that tough. He looks like, you know, regular build type of guy, Chris Pratt. But according to Altamini, he's really good. He has really good wrestling. He has a background in wrestling in high school. The guy has really good experience with wrestling, and I work with him a lot with striking, and I train him in striking. We roll a lot. He likes to roll, and he's strong. I was trying to warm up with him before the fight, and I was like, I want another guy because he's heavy. He has really strong hips. I know he's a really famous actor, but he trains every day. The guy is always training. He's very strong. He comes to fight. So he got a much needed win there, and obviously impressed his new friend Chris Pratt. And I'm sure a lot of United States people watching, you know, can sit back and say, well, you know, we did something right over there, obviously. More than just that, but you know, here's a guy that was born and raised in Iraq and could have gone one way or another, and he chose to join our side, and obviously he lost a lot, had to sacrifice for the job that he did, but you know, he repaid the favor of them saving his life and came back here and you know, became a citizen, and is obviously doing a good job with the fighting for sure. Helping with the Hollywood actors getting in shape even. So great story there. And the rest of the fight card, of course, very entertaining. The main event went pretty much as we described this, except for the fact that we didn't think it was going to be that quick, unless it was Fedor getting the quick first round knockouts. But Ryan Bader just made quick work of the Russian.
Yeah, I think we called that. And did you notice Fedor's interview when he was laughing? He says, everyone wants to fight me. No one wants to go out to lunch with me or have a conversation with me. He just started laughing. I like Klein later. Good for him, but I just felt kind of bad about that it happened so quick. It was a good stoppage.
Yeah.
At first I was questioning, but then when they slowed it down, it was an outstanding stoppage. So I have to think he's done. Fedor's just, he has nothing to be ashamed of. He's on top of the food chain for years, but when your chin's gone, I don't know what you can do.
I don't know. I think they might put him in against another Russian or something, do a whole Russian fight, and they got to give him a win to go out on it. I don't think they do him like that and just hang him out there at the end of this tournament and let him quit. I think they'll set him up with something where he can win and walk away with his head held high.
Of course, but you have to wonder, does he want to keep going? I mean, he has
talked about more and more wanting to retire, but you can't just go out like that. That's embarrassing.
Well, I mean, we've seen worse, where it just goes on and on and on and on and on. This is an ugly little business. Go back to that Max Kellerman phrase, engine boxing, but also interchangeable with fighting. It's not the kind of thing to hang around in just to say you're hanging around. And Fedor put so much into this, and needs so much in Russia.
Right.
So, the way it goes.
Well.
But how about Henry?
I guess Fedor. I guess Putin wasted his money bribing the judges on that one, huh?
Well, Putin. Again, it just kind of boggles the mind that he went to Putin to get permission to make his comeback.
Yeah. Well, it's a big symbol for Russia.
Yeah, I mean, like Brock Lesnar going to the White House asking. Well, with Trump, I could see it more, but Brock Lesnar going to the White House when Obama was president. Can you imagine that?
No.
Trump, I can see it, but.
Yeah.
So the question for Vader now, what does he do? I mean, I think he should stay at heavyweight.
Right.
But then again, weighing in at 220, what he weighed, he's going to be giving away some weight, but he just seems to be in his element. He just, everything's come together for him.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. I didn't even realize before this match. I thought about it before, but I didn't even realize the significance of all these titles in the UFC. The theme of a two-title fight is always happening, and now you've had it at Bellator kind of by accident. This is the one guy that had a belt going in, and he just happens to end up in the finals and gets the two belts now, so he can go either way, just like Daniel Cormier in the UFC with the light heavyweight and the heavyweight belts. And it brings to mind, like in boxing, the situation of Evander Holyfield, who was like a glorified cruiserweight, and he didn't really have a belt when he came up, but he comes up and decides to make his way at heavyweight and stay there. And I think you're going to see that happen with Cormier. He's staying at heavyweight because he's got too much weight to lose to go back down. In his case, but in Bader's case, you could really go either way. With Bellator, you have a smaller pool, and less of a schedule to worry about, and also you have, not that he would need it, but you have the opportunity to go do wrestling or whatever else you want to do in Bellator that you wouldn't have in UFC. So it's going to be interesting, but it makes me wonder, with all these two-belt fights, like what is going on where we have all these? Is it just a lack of talent available, or is it just everybody wants to see people that are at their best take on the best at two different weights for some reason? I don't know what it is, but it's just everybody wants two belts now. Can't have just one. Got to have two.
Yeah, and it seems like it would be awful hard for Cormier to cut back down to 05.
Definitely.
He should probably do it, but I think the big question with Cormier, what about Cain Velasquez? And what about Brock Lesnar? Can Cormier get a multi-million-dollar idiot to turn it down? But if he can't get it, and I have not heard much about the future of that fight at all.
Right.
So, and Cain, are you familiar with what is Cain Velasquez's comeback fight? I know it's been signed, I think.
I'm not sure. I thought Cain was out for a while. But I'm not sure. Maybe I'm thinking.
Well, right, but he's been out for a while.
Yeah.
You know, going back to those days of about 240 pounds on the leg extension. Even NFL linemen don't do this. Yeah, there's a reason why.
Well, we've also got Juan Archuleta was on that card. He got a big win over Ricky Bandejas. Unanimous decision there. And Jake Hager. Remember, I was wondering who this guy was. Why he's in the co-main event or whatever. Co-main event against J.W. Kaiser. Well, Jake Hager is Jack Swagger from the WWE.
Yep. Well, did pretty good from up there.
Yeah, he got an arm triangle choke, 2 minutes and 9 seconds in the first round. And really looked sound with his whole approach to fighting. Definitely was the favorite going in, had the big fan base, but he made pretty quick work of his opponent, and definitely looked like he's going to be around to stay.
Well, I wonder where they found this Kaiser fellow.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's never a good sign when you show up for the weigh-in blue jeans and no shirt. That never seems to strike fear in the heart of your opponent. You know. Oh God! No disrespect intended, but come on, where are we going here? We want to see. I know it was the guy's first fight.
I went to a fight card down in Iowa when I first started Fight News Unlimited, and the guy didn't even have fight shorts. He showed up to the fight, and he didn't even have fight shorts. He had to borrow somebody.
And the fact that he had to use wrestling against this guy. Okay, you figure he's got the edge there, but this is MMA. This is a whole new thing, and I was kind of wondering if he would try his stand-up game. I mean, this is a good time to do it. You're probably not going to get anyone of that caliber in the future.
Right.
Why not see what your stand-up game's like?
Well, that would be the obvious thing to do. Not so much there. Anyway, and the big one that we want to talk about, Henry Corra, former guest of ours about 3 years ago. We had him on the show, and it was right after 2 tough losses to begin his Bellator stint. He ended up notching one more after that, but now Mr. Henry Corrales is on a winning streak because he took out one of Bellator's hottest prospects, who happened to come in himself into Bellator with a big loss. But, Aaron Pico strung together a couple wins of his own, and then walked into the cage with Henry Corrales, and it turned out to be looking pretty good at first for Aaron Pico.
Henry was a 4-1 dog in that fight. 4-1. It'd be like plus 400, something like that. Oh, fight. How do you explain that, Tony? Give Tony a boxing announce for it.
I don't know what fight you can compare it to. I guess.
He's up, he's down, he's up.
I think of a first round where I think it actually happened recently, where both guys were knocked down. I think it was like what the deal was, Tony, is this Aaron Pico guy has a phenomenal wrestling. Sterling credentials. I mean, just a wrestling machine. Well, that's great, but you need other things. Well, he worked on his boxing, and he discovered that he had unusual knockout power. So this was a new toy for him. But the problem is you can't fall in love with one thing, even in boxing. I mean, yeah, you can be a powerful puncher, but you've got to have your jab, you've got to have some movement, your cardio, everything else. You got to work on everything. And what happened is he fell in love with knockouts. And in MMA, you've got to transition. I mean, if someone's hurt, there's no law that says you can't finish him off with your strong point. All that stuff has to be integrated. And how do you describe it, Rich?
like a movie, huh?
Yeah, well, basically, they scrapped. They went toe-to-toe. They weren't messing around with the ground at all. And, they went at each other. And, of course, a lot of hands down. No worries about the chin. And so then Aaron Pico connects early, and basically Henry just about took a knee. And he was going down. And had just a split second to avoid a couple punches and regain consciousness. Then he comes back and knocks out Aaron Pico. Out! Just demolishes him. It all happened in the space of 1 minute and 7 seconds.
Yeah, and we are talking KTFO.
Yeah.
It looked like Henry was doomed, but he really kept his composure. Well, I'll tell you, that move to Phoenix, Arizona, and getting with John Kochgard in the lab, what a difference that's made for Henry.
Yeah.
Because if I remember right, when we interviewed him, I was he short against Aaron Sanchez, and you knew Henry was a wild man when he was talking about his dental implants. That he'd lost teeth, but he was almost elated. Oh yeah, I'm going to get implants now. I'll have steel bolts, can't knock them out again. Because you're fighting this guy. What size sledgehammer do you need to stop him? Yeah. And even Pico admitted that before the fight.
Well, you'll hear it in the interview. You'll hear it in the interview.
Yeah.
I've got 10 minutes of it set aside where he's talking about that fight, and that's one of the ones that he wants to rematch of. Bad, and end it with that part of where he's talking about wanting a rematch. But now he might get it. This is 5 fights in a row for him, and he's talking about not only getting his teeth knocked out in the fight, but it happened in the first round of a fight that went to decision. So,
yeah, I mean that, and I remember saying to him, you can't train that kind of mindset. You can train technique, you can train your body, all the conditioning, but that kind of mentality is just scary.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really going to have to put him away to make him quit.
Yeah. And I said something like, maybe you need to keep your hands up next fight. And I told him I was going to be given a flip comment, and he just took it. He just wiped it right off the plate, and just was like, no, I didn't really take any damage in that fight. It was just the one knee. I don't need to keep my hands up. What do you think this is?
Yeah, and he didn't seem too happy in that interview afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to think, okay, you beat the upcoming stud, one of the hottest prospects around, and man, you'd have to think.
Well,
he earned.
Yeah, look at it this way. He was the prospect at one point. He was Aaron Pico. He's kind of like beating himself. He's like, it's a good and bad moment for him because now he's just like, he's got the start that he wanted to get in the first place, but it probably also, it's like, man, I just beat this kid that was their superstar. So he's like, yeah, he's celebrating the win, but he kind of feels bad for the guy he just beat, and he also probably feels bad about not being able to do that from the outset. He still has to worry about those 3 people that he lost to, and now he's going to have to get through them again to get to a title picture. So he also probably feels a little bit disrespected. I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so because those odds were pretty wide, and that's the feeling I got. And he did say, "Hey, thanks for everyone for coming out." Even his fans appreciate all that, but his whole body language and his whole demeanor was really not someone in a good mood. I'm thinking, Henry, come on, man, celebrate. Okay, but just wasn't there.
No. Anyway, we got one UFC fight to talk about before we wrap the show up. But I'm just going to play about 10 minutes of our interview with him. If anybody wants to listen to the whole thing, you go to blogtalkradio.com/fightnews unlimited, all one word. You just do a search for Henry Corra. Find the whole thing. Starts about 25 or 6 minutes in. This is the 28 minute 30 second mark. Place. There we go.
Okay, I don't know what happened there, but I asked the first question and then everybody's line went dead. Okay.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, do you think they've thrown you to the wolves a little bit there, or do you think it's been a big step up? Well, how do you
dude, it's what I asked for, when I got signed to the belt. I want to fight the toughest guy as possible, and, I just want to compete with the best. That's why I'm here. This is all self-inflicted here.
You wanted it that way. Okay. So,
yeah.
When they first told you you're fighting Daniel Strauss in your first Bellator opportunity, did you just say, well, geez, I better get ready right now? I mean, how was that like for you to get that?
Dude, I was all over it. I was so, they, I guess nobody wanted to fight him, and I hopped right on there. I was like, yeah, fight. Let's do it.
Awesome. What was your impression the first couple of fights? How has Bellator treated you? How is it different from the smaller circuits that you've been part of?
You know what, dude? Bellator's been great. I keep all my sponsors. They also stepped up and stepped up to the play and, offered a little bit more too. So I'm doing well. And the first fight, the big stage is against Strauss. I was a little too fearless and careless. Kind of went in there a little wild. Surprised a little bit. Learned a lot from that fight. And came back against Manuel Sanchez. And given the circumstances, my teeth are gone right now. I don't know if you can hear the list right now, but I got my teeth busted out. I had a really shitty mouthpiece, and my teeth got blasted in the first round, dude. So I had to fight the whole fucking fight with my teeth out of my fucking mouth.
Wow.
And, it was pretty excruciating, but I was in shape. I was conditioned, and I was ready to go in there and do my thing, and that made me, I didn't get the victory, but I hung in there as long as I could, and made it to a split decision. And after rewatching the fight, I feel like I didn't get robbed because it was a close fight, but I feel I should have got the nod, especially after watching the fight. I did all the damage.
Exactly, Henry. I mean, the way I had it scored, I had you winning 29-28, but like you said, it was close. But I'll tell you what, you showed a ton of heart. I mean, neither one of you guys were taking a backward step. I mean, the fans got their money's worth out of that. But I don't think your stock, really, and I don't think your stock went down at all, because that's the kind of fight that people want to see. Getting in there, laying it on the line, just giving everything you've got, and like I said, it was close. I had you slightly ahead, and if I didn't feel you pulled it off, I'd be honest with you, because fighting's the ultimate reality. And I think the worst thing you can do is tell a fighter something, that you don't believe. You got to tell the truth. Fighting's the ultimate truth. And I really think you had a slight edge, but hey, I just know you're going to get better from both those. I'm sure you're back in the gym working hard, especially finding out about those teeth. Man, fighting through that was tough. Oh.
Yeah, dude, I have a fracture in the top and bottom gum line, so I got surgery scheduled here in about 8 days. Wow. So I'm gonna get a nice new pair of teeth. I'm gonna get 5 new teeth.
Well, I guess that's positive way to look at it.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I'm gonna walk away with a better set of teeth than I did going into the fight, so it's all good.
Sounds like it hurts.
Dude, I can't fucking eat. That's the worst part. After a fight, you want to pig out. You want to get fat. I haven't been able to get fat, dude. I still have a six-pack. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, good man. You don't have to cut as much weight next fight, right?
Yeah, dude.
Anyway, tell us about basically what's your ultimate goal with all this? Where do you want to take it?
You know what, dude? I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I haven't got the victories yet that I fucking want, but I want to keep training. I want to keep just doing what I love to do. I love this lifestyle. I don't drink. I don't smoke. All I do is fucking train and hang out with my buddies, and that's just a good time for me. And I just want to keep it up. I want to stay active. I want to get back in there. No injuries out of my fucking teeth, but no serious injuries that are gonna keep keep me out of the completely out of the training room. So that's just, you know, I just want to keep grinding.
Well, I guess I hate to be flipper, and I don't want to sound flipper, but next time you'll be doing way more head movement and keeping your hands up. Yes, it really hurt that thing.
Yeah. You know what, dude? No. I just need a custom mouthpiece, and I'm going to get it from my dentist.
No?
I had a boil and bite mouthpiece from Big Five.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's really careless on my part, dude. But I had to learn the hard way. Because the actual knee wasn't that hard. It didn't rock me or nothing. My jaw actually didn't hurt. You know, it was just right on the teeth, dude, and busted my grill.
Yeah, defense is harder, a lot harder in MMA than it is in boxing, I've noticed, because in boxing you have so much padding on the gloves. You know, you can put the gloves in front of your face and block stuff, but sometimes in MMA, you're trying to block, you have no padding when they hit your gloves, and you end up hitting yourself in the face.
You do, man. But luckily, besides the teeth, dude, I didn't really take much damage. I don't even face is really a sore or nothing. You know, I'm good.
So, is there anybody out there that you really have to watch yourself all the time? Watch a lot of mixed martial arts outside Bellator, inside Bellator?
Dude, you know what? Like I was mentioned earlier, I'm a fan of the training room. You know, I'm a fan of the dudes I work with out here in Southern California. Those are kind of the people I watch, and if I can't really train with you, I just don't really care about you. You know, I want to work and stuff. So I don't really follow the sport too much, to be honest with you.
How about boxing? You watch any boxing? No.
I don't, dude. I'm so slammed with training myself that just kind of when I'm not training and stuff like that, I'm kind of just hanging out with my lady and just chilling, relaxing.
Can't blame me for doing that.
Yeah.
All right. Now, is there anybody out there you really want to fight? Any word on who you're going to fight next?
Yeah, dude. I want Sanchez again, dude. I want that fucking fight. Fight bad and respectful way, you know.
Exactly.
You know, sorry, not to fucking see out, dude. I don't want to exact revenge and I don't want to knock his teeth out or anything. I don't wish this upon no one, but I want to get back in there and put a fight where I'm able to show my all, dude. I was very limited in there, man. I was fucking from the moment, from round one, I was just like, dude, if I get hit in the fucking mouth again, I'm gonna tap. Like that's what was crossing my mind. I couldn't fucking throw more than 2 or 3 punches at a time because I was worried about counting. Yeah. I couldn't push the pace that I would have liked to. So there was just there's a couple things that they weren't in my favor, dude. And I would really love to go in there and redeem myself. And I think the fans, the fans would love it too.
How many guys would you as long as you did with that kind of injury? So it makes me feel like a wuss because when I was a wrestler, I quit the match because my teeth went through my bottom lip.
Yeah, you know what? Besides, I have a little fraction on the top and bottom, but that's gonna heal pretty quick. Actually, I'm gonna get a mouthpiece. I'm gonna have dentures for about. I'm gonna get those. I'm gonna have those for about 4 months, and in about 6 months, I'm gonna get actual implants screwed into my mouth. So up until the implants, I could train, dude. I'm gonna have my mouthpiece ready next week. I'll be ready to go, and once I get the implants, I'll have to take 30 days off. So I'm really not looking at much time out of the gym.
Cool. Henry, I think Henry, you really hit the nail on the head when you said it's not just you that wants this rematch. I think there's 500,000 fans dying to see it, and I'm wind up with.
Yeah, man.
I hope you get it. I mean, I just love your attitude. That's a winning mindset.
Hey, man, that's why I'm in the sport, dude. I'm a fan-friendly fighter, dude. A lot of people act like, a lot of people act too cool for fucking school and be like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care about the fans. I fucking do. I love my job. I love entertaining people, dude. Like, this is what I do. You know, so that's one of my main priorities, dude. And win or lose, you know, these last couple fights, you know, win or lose, you know, I'm just glad I did my job and entertaining the people.
Well, I'll tell you, you're a heck of a slugger. You know, you like being in there in the pocket. You know, and,
yeah, man.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. And I just watched the Flyers score the winning goal in overtime.
Oh, the Flyers won?
Yeah.
I think I just heard my mom yelling, so she must have been watching it. She's a big fan. You know what? You're gonna Rich, don't laugh at me when you hear this, but my mom is a big fan of the new Flyers mascot, Grady, and she wants to dress up as him for Halloween next year.
That's funny.
I will send you photos. You got my. I am calling it today. She's dressed up as Grady for Halloween.
So I guess that's where you get it from, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Do you think I dress up crazy or to see her? She's out of control.
Anyway. So yeah,
what was the score?
It was 3-2 overtime. Overtime game-winning goal.
You know, they were doing terrible all season. They got rid of the coach that the players weren't buying into anymore, and they brought up this 20-year-old goalie that's been phenomenal. He had something like 26 shutouts in like the juniors over the last 2 years. So, you know, maybe good times are on the horizon.
Yeah. So that was Henry. 10 minutes of Henry. We'll have to get him back on for round 2 time, but that's looking back and hearing that perspective. He must have his new implants by now. I never heard somebody so excited about getting his teeth done after getting them knocked out in a fight. Very enthusiastic about that. And no, it wasn't the hands up at all. No, it was my mouthpiece. You know, you gotta love that confidence, though. It's part of your friend, part of your enemy in so many cases. But you know, sometimes you gotta be able to take a little bit of healthy criticism. He's just no. It was I got to be the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece in the knee. That was the only thing. Everything else was fine. Obviously, you know, he is a slugger, and you know, it's hard to break those habits. You know, you can't refine that game sometimes, and it works. If it works, you know, who's gonna knock it? But obviously, he's on the rise. 5 straight wins, and I'm looking forward to who they put him in against next, and we'll definitely be watching for sure. Yeah, Cody Bollinger was his first win. That was January of last year. And in August, he took on, the year before, 2017. Then he took on Noah Lahat in August of 2017. Beat him by unanimous decision. By the way, he beat Bollinger by punch to the body. 4 minutes and 28 seconds into the third. After that, Georgi Karakanyan in January of 2018. That was a unanimous decision win. And now it's 2 TKOs, or 2 knockouts in a row. One was a TKO over Andy Main, 2 minutes and 8 seconds into the third, back in October of last year. And then this one, Aaron Pico, 1 minute and 7 seconds. Dispatched. This was the guy that was supposed to be the world beater, the Conor McGregor figure of Bellator, coming out of nowhere. And Henry OK Corrales. I love that nickname. OK Corral, get it? Yeah, he took care of business. And it's nothing like watching a guy that you've talked to, you know, accomplish something that he's been working at, that you've heard him talking about working at, you know. In that fashion, too, you know, that's going to be like the classic. The UFC equivalent would be Pete Sell versus Smith. What was his name?
Scott Smith.
Scott Smith.
Scott
yes.
Smith.
Yes. Where it was, Smith, Pete had hit Smith in the gut, and he was hunched over, and looked like he was done. And then all of a sudden he came back and unleashed this ungodly left hand, I think it was, and put Sal on the ground. It's on the UFC top 100, but I mean, talk about one guy looks like he's finished, and then not happening. Turn it right around, turn the tables, and wow, I think it overshadowed the main event because it was just so shocking. I don't think anybody really thought that Pico was going to start going downhill again after that last fight. But yeah, sometimes the prospect gets overhyped a little bit. That's what happens. The next big one we have is a UFC Fight Night 140. And main event is Rafael Assunção versus Marlon Moraes. Assunção is 27-5, Moraes is 21-5-1. And this one's in Brazil. There's probably going to be a little bit of a time difference, but not sure if this is going to be on ESPN Plus or what the deal is with their new schedule. Regular ESPN. But Jose Aldo is also in this one. He's in the co-main event. He's 27-4, fighting Renato Carneiro, who's 13-1-1. But the main event, Assunção actually was very vocal, from what I remember after his last fight, about not getting the respect of the UFC and not really feeling like they're taking him seriously. And he basically called them out, not doing enough to get him into the title picture. I think he wanted a top 10 fighter, actually, is what he said. But now, at least he's in the main event. I don't know if Moraes is in the top 10, but definitely looks like Assunção has a chance here to get himself in the title picture with him here, for sure. But then we've got the story of Jose Aldo here. Carneiro's, as Tom would say, no cheap date. It's 13-1-1. It's a tough opponent for Jose Aldo. And he's talking about having 2 more fights this year, or 3 more fights this year, and then retiring. Either way. So, very important fights for him. And, not an easy tune-up or anything here. Renato Carneiro. Well, that could be a little war. And then Demian Maia back in action. 25-9. The Human Backpack. Fighting Lyman Good, who is 20-4. And I hope Lyman has buttered up his jiu-jitsu there, because Demian Maia is going to be hanging on to him for sure. Does it to everybody. We got Charles Oliveira in action. He is 25-8, fighting David Tamur, who is 8-1. I don't know why they have all these Brazilian guys on the card. Because they don't have to fly in. But and then we got a great name for a fighter, Johnny Walker. He is 15-3, fighting Justin Ledette, who is 9-1. Johnny Walker didn't fly in. He walked it. Let's see what else we got. Female fight, Lavina Souza, who is 12-1, fighting Sarah Froca, who's 9-0. I haven't seen either of these girls. Then we got Marcus Perez, 10-2, fighting Anthony Hernandez, 7-0. Thiago Alves in action. He's 22-13, fighting Max Griffin, who's 14-5. Another female fight, Taylor Santos, undefeated at 15-0, fighting Mara Romero Barella, who's 11-5. Fourth fight of the night, Junior Albini, 14-4, fighting Gierzino Rosenstruik, who is 6-0. And would you believe that name It's a black guy's name. Like a German, I don't know, German Scandinavian mix. Weird name. Geraldo de Freitas Jr. in the third fight of the night. He's 11-4, fighting Felipe Diaz Palares, 8-0. Second fight of the night, Ricardo Ramos, 12-1, fighting Said Nurmagomedov, who is 12-1. Somebody 12-1 is going to change there. And first fight of the night, Magomed Bibulatov, who is 14-1, fighting Rogerio Bontarin, who is 14-1. So very, very action-packed, stacked card there for a fight night. I do believe that's it for tonight's broadcast. Unless you guys got anything else to add.
Well, I was going to say at the beginning of the show, I said, when we were talking about me being in the gym with the yoga and all that. Well, as our temperatures have been, so balmy and enjoyable this past week, and surprisingly, I haven't gotten any time to go out and do some sunbathing. We were expecting some bad weather to hit on Tuesday, so I'm at work and I'm trying to come up with a game plan. I'm like, do I drive home during lunch, work the rest of the day from home, and then work out? Or do I go to the gym during lunch and do weights? Because Tuesday is usually my weights day. So I ran Monday night, so my legs are a little tired. I ran and jumped rope, so my legs are a little sore. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the gym during lunch. I'm going to do my weights, because I do weights fast. Because I'm not a person that'll scroll on my phone between sets. I'm in and out. So within 45 minutes, I did 6 different exercises, 3 to 4 sets each. So I blew through pretty good. Got a good one in there. My body's feeling stiff. Now I drive home at 4:30, which is my normal workout start time. Get home around 5:15ish. So I'm like, I'm going to go downstairs in my basement gym and I'm going to box. Okay. Weight in theory, practice not so much, because, like I said, the one day I ran, that day I did a pretty good weights workout. So I'm shadow boxing, I'm not feeling too bad. I'm like, I'm all right. I got them gloves on, them 16 ounces, felt about 16 pounds. I'm like, oh my God, my arms are dead. So I'm getting the bag the first round. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this too much tonight. Oh my God, I'll be all right. And the first round is always my round called Joe Frazier, which is I only use my left hand, jabs and hooks. And I was like, man, that left hand started to really feel, pretty dead. I'll be fine. Get the second round, get both gloves on, and I'm throwing some shots. Them legs ain't working too good. And I'm like, damn. After the third round, I'm trying to convince myself, do you really have to go 10 rounds in the bag? Maybe 5 would be all right. You did lift today. And then I remembered about 7 years ago, I remember stupid things. I was training a friend of mine. I trained him once. This is why. He comes over like a big gorilla, and he's telling me that he's going to have a great left hook, and this and that. And of course, he's one of those people that you really need to humiliate him. You got to humble him a little bit. So he shows me his left hook, and I laugh at him. I said, "That's your strong one. I'm afraid to see what your worst stuff is." And he starts hitting the bag like this big overgrown ape. And after about 25 seconds, he stops and he drops his arms and he starts really sucking air. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm slacking off for a minute." I said, No, you don't slack off in my gym. He goes, "You don't understand, I'm lifting weights today." I said, "Oh, you don't understand. I don't care." Bell to bell when you're in my gym, son. And I'm going to call him son, he's older than me. So I really busted his balls, and, so I'm hitting that back, and I'm like, man, maybe after 3 rounds. I'm like, maybe I'll just do 5 rounds tonight. And then my own voice was like, you don't understand. I don't care what you did today. And you go bell to bell. You said you're doing 10? Do 10. I actually yelled at myself. I Mickey'd myself.
There you go.
And then around the 7th or 8th round, I'm starting to feel a little bit of gas in the tank. And I'm like, yeah, all right, second wind's coming in. I'm like, I'm all right. Well, I use a certain playlist when I hit the bag at home, and it's my Rocky playlist. And the start of the 10th round always starts the monologue from Rocky Balboa when he's like, you know, ain't nobody gonna hit hard as life. It ain't how hard you hit, it's how hard you get hit. That monologue is 45 seconds. And during that, I really go balls to the wall. That 45 seconds felt about 45 minutes. And when I was done, I went to do, like, some lateral movement to the right, damn near fell over. But I got through it.
By the way, then, I like the Rocky clip in your video about retiring your mascot.
You like that, huh? Just to let you know, I can't do it until I have the new outfit yet. Yeah. But I will let you guys know how I'm going to work this in. I am making like a movie teaser trailer for the new outfit. Nice. And because at the end of it, remember how I said, like, the next chapter comes March of 2019?
Yeah.
It's like a trailer, and it's going to start with, like, a couple clips, like, one former guest of ours, Antonio Tarver from Rocky Balboa, when he's like, it's already over. Mm-hmm. And then another clip of somebody saying, like, that over. And then I'm going to change to Animal House. Bluto saying, like, nothing is over until we decide it is. And then I'm going to have a clip from Rocky Balboa, like, you know, I think there's something left in the basement, you know? And then I'm going to have a clip from Rudy in there and all this and that. And then it's like, it's going to pan the back of the outfit, the new one. And it's going to be like, I'm back. You know, and that's, but I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'm just going to show just a quick shot of it. And where it says tornado on the back, I'm going to pan across tornado.
Sweet.
So, yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool.
No. Looking forward to it. Speaking of clips, ironically, you might want to look into whether you can keep them on there very long, because just the other day, actually, I got a copyright, not violation, but like challenge on, guess what, a trailer that I put up on my account for Boondock Saints. But it is the full trailer. But, I mean, this is like over 10 years later since I put it up. And they're just now getting around to challenging it.
You know what's funny? Because I got suspended a couple years ago for 3 days because I had two of my own personal videos that I made myself. One was a clip of me singing Blue Christmas. And it had the Elvis version of it, but then I was singing over top of it. And so this is copyright, blah, 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 some of that Elvis, and I'm thinking he's dead. I don't think he cares about royalties.
Oh, he is the most wealthy dead celebrity on the planet.
Yeah, I know.
There's a statement.
And the other one was a clip of me from a couple years ago that we posted on Facebook. It was me karaoke doing Baby Got Back. And, yeah, and so they said, like, they took it down. I'm like, but this one, it wasn't even the Sir Mix-a-Lot voice. It was strictly my voice, because karaoke, there was no voice audio. All the voice was me. And I'm like, I think they took it down because of my sexy and provocative dance moves. Anytime I do a video where I'm singing over something, I'll put that on YouTube and then just post the YouTube clip. Because YouTube, like, they've actually taken some of my stuff down before. Like, the one time I was at a bar, and the Phillies were in the one out from going to the World Series. So I was getting everybody's reaction at the bar as it was going down. And I just took a quick clip of the TV on the fly out. It was a pop-up. And everybody's cheering and all that. And Major League Baseball said, this is a copyright material, and they suspended my account for like 6 months and shit. And I'm like, but it was basically a quick clip of the TV, and the rest of us, more people just jumping around, dancing, and hugging each other. So I was, and funny, I'm actually even surprised that there was no problems with people posting clips of them watching the end of the Super Bowl last year, because maybe the NFL was like, we don't give a shit, you know. Major League Baseball was like, we got sticks up our asses. And another time, I had taken videos from a Kid Rock concert, and I posted them all into one, and somebody, like, took it down, and they gave me a copyright strike on it, and suspended my account where I couldn't post it for, like, a couple months. And I'm like, okay, fine. But there are other times I've gone to concerts and videoed some of the performances and never had a problem. So I guess depends on, you know, who sees it and who's doing the review and how much of an asshole they want to be. But you're right, with these ones that I've done with the Phillies videos, I haven't had, knock on wood, any problems with the songs I use and with that one having the movie clip in it. This next one I do with, like, the little trailers, maybe, I don't know. I mean, Facebook suspends people over the stupidest shit in the world. Who does?
Yeah, they do.
You know, I have so many friends that have multiple accounts. They're like, oh, I'm getting that Facebook jail again. But it's like, you know, that's why I really don't share any memes or stuff, because someone's like, that's offensive. Then don't look at it.
Right.
That's my thought process. If it offends you, don't look at it.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a face-off with a woman on Facebook because I posted something about, you know, running in nature being better than eating a handful of pharmaceutical pills for your depression or whatever. And she was all like, oh, well, you know, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for pharmaceutical medications that I take. And I was like, whatever, lady. All I'm saying is better to be closest to the source. And, you know, maybe it helps you, but it's got a million side effects. Some of them kill people.
Right.
So, you know, it's not for everyone.
You know, and I'll tell you, you know what else? It's like certain people, like little bitch, learn about, like, you know, certain things. It's like, you know, just grow it. Really, you know, people, if they're offended, I'm gonna post something I'm offended about. You know, it's all bullshit. And it's like, you know, everybody gets, like, suspended these days anymore. It's like the stupidest shit. I know a girl that got in trouble because she posted a photo years ago, changing her infant daughter.
Huh.
That's supposed to be something a parent's proud of, right?
Yeah.
Changing an infant child. And they said, oh, this is, you know, unacceptable, and someone complained about that. You know, it's a baby. You know, I tell you, the other year, right after I got suspended, the day that my suspension was lifted, I was actually driving to my friend's house, because it was like, you were suspended for 36 hours, and the end of that 36 hours was, you know, me actually on my way to my friend's house to see my nephew for the first time, because he had just come home from the hospital. And I remember, because it came up on my Facebook memories about 2 weeks ago, first thing I put a post on there, I'm like, hello? And I'm like, oh shit, I was able to post. I'm like, great. And then I was able to go take pictures and post pictures of the baby. But I took one where my friend's changing. I'm like, I better not post that, because it's child pornography. It's my friend changing a 3-day-old. 3 days. It's ridiculous.
No. Well, anyway, we have the Google alerts for today, and I got a couple extra pops for today's show. Boxing is not dead, Tony. The funerals they said that they were going to have for boxing came and went. They didn't happen. Forbes has put out an article saying boxing is booming worldwide, how the sweet science fought its way back to the top. And I haven't read it yet, but I will forward that to you, because I'm sure you won't read it. And guess what? They finally dropped some punishment on Conor McGregor. He has been fined and suspended, along with Khabib Nurmagomedov, for their post-fight brawl last October in Las Vegas. $500,000 is the fine. Actually, $500,000 is what Nurmagomedov got. A 9-month ban. McGregor only got 6 months of a ban and $50,000 in fines. So, wow. $50,000 and a 6-month ban. But nothing from any commission or no suspension from the UFC for throwing a hand trolley through the freaking window of the bus leading up to this fight, before the fight even happened. Nothing for that, but they suspended him for the stuff that happened after the fight. Both suspensions are retroactive to October 6th, the date of the fight. And Nurmagomedov can have 3 months off of his ban if he delivers a public service anti-bullying message. Lovely. Nurmagomedov took to Twitter in response to his punch, saying, "Only politics forever." While McGregor's manager, Audi Attar, said in a statement, "We are grateful to the commission for their serious focus and the decision which will allow fans to see their favorite fighter return to the octagon." So, it is what it is. I'm still disappointed, though, that Dana White took no action whatsoever. There was no UFC suspension, no fine, nothing after the whole bus attack thing. Regardless of what led up to that, what kind of death threats were not leveled, which is my theory of what started it all. You just cannot set that message that, you're going to let somebody do that just because they're one of your top draws and just not have any punishment whatsoever for that kind of activity. I mean, even the criminal case was pretty straightforward, open and shut, very easy for him because he had good lawyers. But you'd think the organization would take it a little bit more seriously and give him kind of serious punishment. But they just didn't. They didn't.
Guys, I'm 2%, so I'm going to check out.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up.
All right, guys.
Thanks for stopping
Next
by,
week.
guys. We'll catch you next week.
Have a great night, guys. I'll still be baby.
Adios.